Hello everyone. Hello Manvendra sir.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes, you're yes, perfectly audible. Hello Shweta ma'am.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Welcome to, not physically, but welcome to virtual session with the DAIICT. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes, so Rahul is running a little bit late. He'll be joining us in like 5 minutes. Also, I would like to inform that Ankit Dasgupta won't be joining us because he has some emergency, like family emergency. So he updated us with that. So yeah, so I guess we should wait for 5 minutes until Rahul joins, and we can start with that. Okay.
I'm just going to mute myself, and then when it's starting, I will.
Yeah, definitely. While we wait, like how is it going? We have been sitting in home like for since last March, as far as I can remember. Like we, as far as I remember, like we left DA for our in-sem breaks, and we never returned.
Are you all in at your hometowns, or you are in Gandhinagar now?
Yes, we are at our hometowns. Actually, at the university, we are not allowed to, enter. So yeah.
Oh.
So last year, these students left for the holy break, and most of them could not return yet. So a
My God.
batch passed out, and the first year, who is in first year and about to go to second year, never saw the campus. So I joke with them, yeah, it's like arranged marriage, like you marry without knowing the second half. So they've got an admission into the campus without really getting to see it even once. So that's the sad state, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She talked about the batch that passed out. I am one of the students, so it's like
You
my
are one.
last year was like completely at home. The last year was supposed to be awesome at the campus, but here we are. So
Here you
You
are.
are, Armin. You are in which batch? Which year now? Which year
so
now?
I graduated this year. I was in
Oh.
batch 2021. As a matter of fact, I got my provisional degree like 2 days ago. So yeah,
Oh.
like
So you're
officially.
officially passed
Exactly.
out.
Yes,
Okay.
officially graduated. I just hope that next January they at least like hold the convocation. I really want to see the campus at least one more time.
I'm sure. Let's hope.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Which part of? Where are you at the moment? Which is your hometown?
Navsari, Gujarat.
Oh, Navsari. Okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's within Gujarat only.
Yep. It's in Gujarat.
And Shweta, what about you?
So I am close to college. So I mean, we can't go further. So I am near Gandhinagar, and I live in Koteshwar, so very much Ahmedabad Gandhinagar area. So, and how are you, sir? Where do you live? Like, is everything all right? Family
Yeah,
and your own
I'm
health?
currently in Mumbai.
Okay, okay.
I'm in,
So,
I don't
how
know
is
why.
the lock?
Is my screen shaking? I mean, I can see myself moving on the.
Um,
Not
not
Because,
not
really.
really, exactly. Yeah.
okay. Maybe then I'm seeing something. And yeah, I'm currently in Mumbai. I mean, I was in Rajpipla 3 weeks ago. I was actually in Rajpipla for 3.5 months because of the high cases in Mumbai. So I
Yeah.
delayed. So I'm entire June month I'm in Mumbai.
Okay. And
I
is it lockdown yet, or are they're
no
opening a
no
bit, right?
no Mumbai
Relaxing
Mumbai is opening up. Mumbai has
completely.
yeah kind of like except a few things like our local trains and all are not functioning there. But in fact, even restaurants have opened up.
Okay. Okay.
They're partially kind of
Mm.
trying to. I mean, not fully, but like they try to avoid the opening in the weekends and all. And otherwise, it's like it's just takeaway. You can go and get your parcel and can take it home and eat.
Okay.
Uh, that kind of situation.
Great. Semblance of normalcy everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me some chat. Yes.
So maybe we can start, Dharmi. So the
Yes,
other speaker
exactly.
can
I
speak
will
as
I
he
will
comes.
keep
Uh,
before 8 o'clock because I have
Yeah.
another session at 8. So I think around 7:50 ish or something. I
Perfect.
will leave.
Dharmin, do
that's
we plan
perfectly
to
fine.
end by that time? That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
at least we hope to
Mhm. Yeah.
plan to end it by then. And I just got an update from Al. He'll be joining us at 6:15, so I think
We can
we should
start.
start.
Yes.
Yes. So hello everyone, whoever is joined. First of all, I would like to welcome Shweta ma'am again. Like we saw her yesterday, and we again had some awesome discussion as well. And I would want to welcome Manvendra Singh. Uh, he let me just so Manvendra sir, he was born into a royal Rajput family of Rajpipla Gujarat, and he is actually world's first openly gay prince. So that's one thing, that's kudos first of all. And he's a human rights activist and chairman of Lakshya Trust, which works for HIV/AIDS education and prevention. So I mean, let's hear about it more from the prince himself. So sir, like, give us some insight.
Yeah, thank you first of all for having me over here. Let me just make a bit of a correction in the introduction. Lakshya Trust, yes, does work for HIV prevention work, but we are the first organization in Gujarat to have started working for the LGBT population, which is we primarily work for gay men, bisexual, homosexual population, transgender population in HIV as well as many other things. So we made a beginning with HIV because actually government of Gujarat was the one who initially partnered with us under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So they, because what had happened was during the 1990s, the HIV epidemic had, started spreading in our country, and the government realized that they need to partner with vulnerable groups like ours. There's a medical term which has been coined: men having sex with men, MSM, and transgender. And of course, there were female sex workers and injection drug users. So, Gujarat, there was no project of this sort happening. So then I was approached by them through my friend Ashok Rao Garg, who happened to be India's first gay activist, and we had already started working with the government in Mumbai, with the government of Maharashtra, for a similar project. And they said, Gujarat, there are a lot of people who are dying of HIV and AIDS, and there's not much as is being done there. So if I would like to do something, and I said, yeah, definitely. There was a need to even have a platform for the LGBT community, which was missing in Gujarat, and we were fortunate to get a government recognition. Imagine in those days where we were still treated, our sexual activities were still treated as criminal. In those days, I'm talking 21 years from now, government took the risk of partnering with us, funding us and supporting us, and still they are funding us. The 21 years have passed by, and still government is funding and supporting us for HIV issues and activities related to that. So it was a big thing for us. So yeah, that's about my organization. And if you want to know something about me, then I can elaborate on that.
Definitely. I mean, it's actually a lot of, I wouldn't say like difficult, but it's something that, you don't see as a usual thing, right? So what you're doing is kind of amazing. And again, kudos to that. Now, coming up to Shweta ma'am, of course, as such, she does not really need an introduction, but again, Shweta, Shweta Rao Garg, she's associate professor at DIICT. She's an artist, she's a writer, she is amazing, and of course, the most important of all, she's our favorite professor. So I would really like Shweta ma'am to just, like give us some introduction that we actually don't know. Yeah.
I mean, introduction that you don't know, and you say I'm your favorite professor. I mean, how does that work?
I mean, it's not about.
So one thing which I think which may be of interest is you just said that I'm an artist. So I also want to say that this is a very, very recent phenomena. So when I was a little baby, I used to say that, you all say that hum bade hoke prime minister banenge ya jo bhi banenge. So when I was a baby, I thought that I will be an artist, and that never happened. I did my master's, then I did my PhD, then I became, like whatever one does to become a professor. I was at DICT, and I think Manvendra sir should come to DICT whenever things are better. And you would also agree with me that it's a beautiful campus. And I believe somewhere something unlocked, and I got into using crayons. My son was 4-year-old then, and he would go to art class, and I had to wait it out outside. So I would also start working on his crayons. And a friend told me that why don't you? So she said that she went to art teacher, and he made her copy masterpieces, like masterworks using crayons. And I laughed. I said, it's ridiculous. How could that happen? And she said, just try. And I did that. So that's how it began. So I started making art seriously only from 2014, which may look like a long time. It's 2021 now, but something which happened, and my husband laughs at me, and he says it's some early onset of midlife crisis or whatever. But that's the journey. And maybe because I was stumbling as a student, I sympathize with students when they are learning something new, because after an age, it's a challenge to learn something new. But right now I'm learning how to dance, and it's a huge challenge. And my classmates are 13-year-old little kids, and I'm the oldest. I feel like a total senior person there. But I think when you learn a new thing, you are less ashamed or embarrassed to learn something. So, Dharmin, I have a question I'm dying to ask Manvinderji. Can I shoot off? Because I'm sure his life is far more interesting than anything else could ever be. So,
Yeah.
Sir, I mean, so you came out so many years ago. Do you ever regret this decision, or you think it's an ongoing process? If at all, you may answer. I mean, if you want to answer this.
Yeah, thank you for asking me this question. But before I answer this question, I want to again, reply to the invitation you very kindly gave about visiting the DAICT or whatever.
CT. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong, I have been to this your institute, and in fact, I've delivered a TED talk there.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes, I have delivered a TED talk. I still remember I saw peacocks in your institute.
That's definitely our institute. Yeah.
It's a beautiful campus. I stayed there in the guest house along with another TED speaker who had come from Baroda. He's no more. He passed away. He's a sculptor. He used to make statues and all in Baroda. So we were sharing with him in the guest house, and I remember visiting the AICT for the TED talk. So I have been to your institute. Coming back to your question, I of course I do not regret coming out and doing what I did, but one regret I do have is that I should have come out much earlier.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I would have saved some more lives. Maybe I would have made lives of many people happier. But I also believe that there is a time for everything, and we have, I'm a great believer of destiny, and whenever things will have to happen, they will happen. So it's nothing is in our control. So I think probably it was the right time for me to come out and talk about my my private life to the world. And even though it's like it was late, but it was like better late than never. So I'm still happy about doing what I've done.
It's fantastic to start on that note.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, sort of, I do have like a follow-up question, sort of. So, when you came out, that's actually a huge decision. So, like, what exactly was your mindset? Like, kind of a roller coaster ride, or like, what was exact mindset? What exactly happened after you came out?
So I think I would answer you the question about what made me to come out, and then I would say give the so I will start off with saying that I mean as you have given in my introduction, I belong to a very old family, a 600-year-old dynasty, which I'm one of the direct descendants and custodians. Having said that, I'm also proud of my Indian culture. And Rahul has joined. Hi Rahul, how are you? So I'm extremely proud of my rich cultural heritage. I'm proud to be Indian, but unfortunately, many people are not proud, even though we are Indians. And why I'm saying that, because our country, if you see our culture, it was historically a very sexually liberated country in the olden days. We have evidence in the form of Kama Sutra, which is the world's oldest sex encyclopedia. It was written in 400 BC, 400 to 200 BC, even before Jesus Christ was born. We have temples like famous ones like Khajuraho, Konark, several I can name, where there is open depiction of homoerotic forms of statues, sculptures, and not just homoerotic, even erotic. Yet in our country, we are ashamed to talk about sex. We are not willing to teach sex in schools. I used to teach, and the Parents Association came and banned it because they said that we are spoiling the children, and that the parents themselves don't teach. So it was this hypocrisy which is prevailing in our country, which people are not ready to accept the truth, and then they make allegations against us that homosexuality does not exist in this country. You all are having Western influence. This is a Western culture. So those are the things which motivated me. I said I have to break my silence. I can't just keep quiet and listen to people's illogical statements and just keep quiet about it, because if we keep up quiet, nothing is going to happen. So I decided I have to break the silence. I have to talk on a subject which is existing in our culture, and yet it is a taboo. And I want to open dialogues, and doesn't matter if people debate with me. I'm open to debate, but people at least should talk, and that's what instigated me, motivated me to come out of my royal closet and my comfort zone. See, who would like to live in the palace? People are crazy after royal families. I mean, I had the most luxurious style. I had no issues with anything. I mean, I could have left my closeted lifestyle like anyone else is leading. What was the necessity of me to talk my private life in public? And that too, I also didn't know I created history by being the first royal. So you can imagine nobody wants to do that. So I said, let me do things what nobody wants to do, because that itself is a challenge. And I'll see whatever comes my way. I will face all the consequences, good or bad, which comes. And I did that, and I seriously felt very liberated. I felt free. For the first time, India got independent in 1947. I thought I am getting my freedom on 14th March 2006.
Wow.
because I was completely myself. I was true to myself. I was true to others. I didn't have to tell lies. I didn't have to pretend what I'm doing. And I got my freedom. I kind of and that's why when you asked me, do you regret? I said no. I will never regret coming out, because who doesn't want freedom today? Tell me. We all want. We are all locked up in our homes because of COVID. if given a chance, Dharmen would like to visit his institute, and get the freedom. Nobody wants to get locked in homes, but we have to, because we have to keep ourselves safe. So I was totally felt so amazed and wonderful after I came out, even though I had to face a lot of brickbats and hurdles, which anyone will face when they speak the truth. I said, doesn't matter. Even our freedom fighters had to face it, so I'll also face it. For the sake of freedom and for the sake of the larger goal, if I have to make some sacrifice, I don't mind it, and so I did it.
That is quite awesome. Actually, I mean, I do have another follow-up question for that as well. But before that, let me introduce Rahul. Hey, Rahul, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Hello, sir. Hi,
Hello.
Shweta.
So,
Hi.
a little bit about Rahul. So there is one thing that while pursuing civil engineering at IIT Gandhinagar, Rahul got out there. He pulled up all the resources and made Gandhinagar's first ever queer pride happen. And was it success? Yeah, it was a huge success, and it actually made Rahul as a queer champion. So let's hear about it more from Rahul himself. So Rahul, how was the experience?
Oh my God, the experience while I'm hearing queer champion is amazing. Well, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I think the journey has actually begun, you know. But yes, speaking of my experience organizing Pride Parade, we need to understand how the situation is pertaining to city. Like if you are in Mumbai or Delhi, these cities are quite comparatively open-minded, as
Hmm.
compared to Gandhinagar, where when I reached out to police people for getting permission for the Pride Parade, they had no idea what a LGBTQ is, and for the first 2, 3 visits, they didn't even take me seriously. So, and that is why and that is how we had to sensitize them first, tell them what entire LGBTQ thing is and why we are doing this, and so finally it took me like 7 rounds to police station and 4 rounds to collector office to finally get the police permission. um, and yeah, so we were expecting like 200 people. Even if 200 people come, that is going to be a huge number because it's first Pride Parade, it's Gandhinagar. But then, to our surprise, there were more than 400 people. And not only from Gandhinagar or Ahmedabad, there were people from other states as well. So this was something which was really, really overwhelming. And I actually have to thank, the entire team, of course, but at the same time, those people who were helping us indirectly. People like Manvendra sir, I think I don't remember even a single post which he didn't share. So, and this is how our reach, we were able to reach out to larger number of people. So yeah, thank you so much everyone who helped us, and that was actually the starting point. Since then, we have been working in different capacities now. Um, so, what started as just a social group and to organize chote mote events, now we are working to, we have actually rescued 2 couples, 2 lesbian couples in last 3 or 4 months. Then we have also raised some funds for their education, for their accommodation. Of course, we are reaching out to other organizations too for help. So, and we are also representing India on a global platform. Our Pride organization, at the same time, India on global platform. So, yeah, and I think, and I have to say this. So, when you say queer champion, I think all credit goes to Manvendra sir. I think, sir, this is all your influence because the very first event I organized in IIT Gandhinagar was talked by Manvendra sir, and yeah, and I think that actually that is how I started into this social work you call. Yeah.
That is pretty awesome. So, first of all, congratulations, of course.
Thank
And
you.
second of all, hearing about that you even represent India on a global platform, that's just amazing. So, thank you so much for doing this for people. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. And also, a kind of, I asked Manvendra sir that when he came out, what was the mindset, what was, like, the after effects sort of. But as he said that in countries like India, like, it's sort of taboo. If
Mhm.
they people don't even talk about sex. So if that's the case, I'm pretty sure that there are so many people still in the closet. So I'd like to ask all of you, what do you think, like, what would be the mental state, what's the bad effects on the mental health if they that still keep on closet? Because looking at Manvendra sir, he clearly seems really happy that he came out. His only regret, as he said, that he wished that he came out earlier. So when a person does not actually come out of the closet, what's the effect on his or her or their mental health? And yeah, surrounding the people, what an indirect effect of him being not themselves affects on others. So
You
Manvendra
want
sir,
me?
please, would you like to start? Yeah.
Okay. Basically, see, it's very interesting. I'll start with a study which I saw on one of a video. I was seeing a interview some time back. It's a documentary film called Intersex. Now, very interestingly, there was a study which was conducted by one university. I'm forgetting the name. I think it was perhaps Harvard University, where they've taken random samples from the population, males, females, not defining their gender or sexuality. And that study has revealed that a lot of homophobia or transphobia or biphobia comes from the community itself, from the homosexual population itself. And this, I agree with this study because I have traveled the world over and I've seen a lot of homophobia, originating from the homosexuals themselves, from the LGBT community themselves. And I'll tell you the reason for that also. See, like we were talking about the being in the closet. So a lot of us, why we are remaining in closet is because we don't want. First of all, they don't even want to accept themselves. Forget about others. So self acceptance itself is something which is missing. I mean, imagine person like me. It took me 30 years to even accept myself. I mean, of course, those were different days. They were like 1970s and 80s, but now things are very different. So now it should not be that easy for somebody to accept yourself. But if you are not able to accept yourself, you are in the closet and you don't want others also to know, then you are in a way punishing, not just punishing yourself, you are punishing others also. And then they tend to create phobia in the minds of people, and then tell people, oh, you know what, these things are all wrong and wrong, bad, and these are all sinners. And I've seen this happening with my own eyes. The homosexual population, which have traveled the world over, have said this to other people, that homosexuality is immoral or homosexuality is unnatural. Because see, they are. We have to understand they are frustrated with their own lives. They are not wanting to accept themselves, so they say, why should we allow others also to be accepted? So therefore, I always say that first and foremost thing to anyone, whether you want to be in closet or don't want to be in closet, that's a immaterial thing. But we need to accept oneself, whatever you are. If you accept it, your half your battle will be won.
Yeah. So Rahul, anything to add?
Yes. So the first thing you said that people don't even talk about sex. Well, I'll tell you why people don't about sex, because people are busy doing it. So, so
That's
that's so
yeah.
true. We are the second largest populous country.
Yeah,
So
that is true. I mean,
yeah. Having said that, well, first thing, being out of the closet doesn't mean that you have to proclaim. Okay, I think many of us, in fact, majority of us never did that. It's just that being true to yourself and being true to others. You know, heterosexual people never say, "Oh, I am heterosexual." But the concept of coming out of the closet is because you want to accept yourself and you want to see that other people also accept yourself the way you are, right? So I made it a point that whenever somebody is asking me about my sexuality, I won't lie, because back then I was living this dual life, and it creates a lot of pressure, stress on one's life. So that was the whole thing. Now, there are a number of reasons why people are still in the closet, and as Manvendra sir said, there is this internalized homophobia, phobia within the LGBTQ community. And I tell you this because, uh, uh, well, जिस कुएं से बाकी लोग पानी पीते हैं, हम भी उसी से ही पानी पीते हैं. So this has always been there in our upbringing, or this is how we are conditioned. For example, if there is this gay guy who is masculine and there is this gay guy who is effeminate, certainly there is going to be a kind of discrimination, and which I have experienced. The first thing is they deny because they themselves don't want to come out, and as Manvendra sir said, uh, because they are not able to digest the fact that how the society is accepting them, because they are not accepting them. So this is one of the reasons. Second thing is there are a lot of people who deny our very existence, you know, and they deny the fact that homosexuality has always been there in Indian culture. You talk about the Mahabharata, Shikandi was there. You talk about Ardhanareshwar Avatar. You talk about a Mohini Avatar of Lord Vishnu. Then Manvendra sir talk about the sculptures, the Khajuraho temple. All these things they show that homosexuality was never an alien concept. This was always been there. It was very well respected. You know, um, but and people of our parents' generation, of our grandparents' generation, they know all these mythological stories, but yet they tend to deny the existence, because somewhere or the other they think that this will affect our Indian culture or Indian values, which is not true, because this was always there. There are some people who deny it because I think, because then they will have to question their own identity, while they themselves are in the comfort zone. Why would somebody want to come out of the comfort zone? So there are a number of reasons why people bash other people, or there is this kind of phobia with respect to the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that I heard somewhere. So when Manvendra sir said, and you said that people, when one doesn't accept himself or herself, they kind of build up, a toxic phobia, toxic
Right.
masculinity in their mindset as well. So I heard somewhere in, I guess, men's XP's video, that some people can sometimes be, there is this term bi curious. So they don't want to even try that out, because what if they start liking it?
Yeah.
What if they like start liking it? Log kya kahenge, परिवार वाले क्या कहेंगे, society क्या कहेगी? So again, that kind of creates a whole chain reaction of toxicity. So yeah, about that. Now let's hear about this particular question from a cisgender straight person. Shweta ma'am, what are your opinions on this one?
One thing I'm never going to do is claim experiences which are not mine and give wisdom on it. So, a huge disclaimer there. But as an educator, I mean, so when I was a student, so I did my PhD from a place and I was a teaching assistant. And interestingly enough, students were very forthcoming with me. So, a bunch of students came to me when we were actually, so in every class reading, I have this agenda of incorporating discussions on gender and sexuality also. So after a class, these four kids, they kids as in a couple of years younger than me, they accosted me and they asked me that if they had some sort of homo relationship because they were bored, quote unquote, does that make them gay? Right. So then I didn't want to ask anything. I didn't want to sniff around because I could understand that what was going on. And I said, even if you were, what are you afraid of? So then I told them that it's there is this whole continuum. So so the labels are very important because it means that it proclaims you who you are. It is an important part of your identity. But at the same time, nobody is like 0 and 1. And a part which I say that again and again in class, that it's not like binary 0 1 or black and white. There are so many shades of gray. And it's all of us, like all of us are homo curious, homo erotic. And even at some level, we have a whole spectrum of sexuality. So even if anyone were to experiment, what are you afraid of losing? So whatever Dharmin just pointed out, that people are afraid, and what both of you would agree with your own life experiences, that people are afraid that, does that mean I am so and so, and then what happens? So we are so afraid coming face to face with our own identities, that perhaps that's the seed of homophobia, right? That the seed of xenophobia in a larger context of the term. So that is something which I want to add. By the way, I also have a question for Rahul here, and for Manvendra sir. So and I'm sure Dharmin also had that in mind. So if you were thinking of it, like, you said that things were very different when you were growing up, Manvendra sir, and maybe Rahul, maybe it's slightly easy, but I'm not saying it is. So what kind of structures do you expect to be in education scenario, that things are better? There is more support structure. So what kind of structural changes do you envisage, and what kind of changes do you think education, school level and college level, should embrace to make it friendlier for people of all kinds and orientations?
So do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think Rahul, you should start first.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
make a
Uh,
change. Make a
Thank you so much. So, I totally agree with you, Shweta, that well, everyone have their own experiences, but the experiences shared by Manvendra sir were very, very extreme, because when I came out, when I was actually in my acceptance phase, I had a couple of people to look upon. I had examples, but I think when sir came out and when sir was going through that phase, nobody had literally come out, I guess. So yes, there is absolutely a big change, not a small change actually. um Talking about the educational institutions and thing, well, I think I'll give you one example. So the very first thing we do when we wake up is brush our teeth, get fresh, and nothing like that. Who taught us this thing? Obviously, when we were kids, say our parents taught us. But that too, like when we were 4 years or 5 years after that, it became a daily routine, and nobody actually ever had to tell us. The same thing when we teach our children, that there is this entire world beyond gender binary, and we inculcate these values, and these people have to be respected, and have to be given respect. So I think if we inculcate these values from the very beginning, things are going to change. Talking about educational institutions, and I would like to quote the recent Madras High Court verdict recently we got. And out of many, I think 8 or 9 points, there was this particular point which says educational institutions should do this thing, that they should have in their curriculum to educate children not only on sex or gender, but on this entire spectrum of sexual orientation and gender identity. Second thing, this was also mentioned that the school also make an attempt to make their parents aware of these things whenever they are visiting for parent teacher meeting and like that. I think this is a very beautiful verdict. And now the question is how much this is implemented. I really hope this is implemented in schools. And on the top of that, of course, when we are talking about educating children, the teachers must be educated first. I remember when in 2018, I guess, when I had just started working for the community, so there was this workshop for some 30 government school teachers in IIT, and I tend to interact with two of them, and I just generally ask them about this LGBTQ thing. And so surprisingly, they knew about homosexuality, but they were like, "Oh, this is something which we have adopted from Western culture. This is not our Indian culture." They knew about these things to a depth that within gay, if two people are gay, then what? So these were his exact words. The one will be behaving as a man, and the other one will be behaving as a woman. So they had every idea about what homosexuality, but still they tend to deny it. So as I said, that before educating the children, schools should be teachers should be educated. Next thing, when we talk about colleges, I think it's now high time to for the colleges to have uh, gender and sexuality resource groups where people like us can feel safe, where such groups can actually promote and help in creating awareness within the campus. Like, I was fortunate when I went to IIT, there was this group, Gender and Sexuality Club, which I headed, and we tried our level best, to sensitize the school. We also made it a point that not only the students but the faculties also participate in our events. So I think these are a couple of things which we can do, or we can suggest to inculcate those values and make sure that the generation is a little more sensitized and a little more empathetic towards not only sexual minorities, but I think for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, Manvendra sir, what's
I
your
would
take on
like
that?
to add on to what Rahul said now that Madras High Court case, which we recently got the news of, which happened on this month itself, 6 June. Now, how did that come about? Also, it's very interesting. One should know the history behind it, because I had the fortune of interviewing the lawyer, Mr. Madhuraj, who was representing the lesbian couple, because now I am also a radio host for Red FM channel. I also my episodes coming out every week. So this week my episode on Manuraj was podcast, and I interviewed him for almost an hour and a half. Now, what I got to know from this case was that the judge of the Madras High Court, Justice Anand Venkatesh, he admitted that he was ignorant on the issues of LGBT, because it was a case about a lesbian couple who filed a petition for police harassment and for the parents not accepting them. So he was very clear. He said he was ignorant on the issues, and he made it a point to educate himself. And he went to mental health practitioners, psychiatrists, psychologists, and he also took time to meet the LGBT community in Tamil Nadu, and Chennai, and to educate himself. And he has in his decision, he has said that ignorance should not come in the way to discriminate or to violate somebody's human rights. So and based on that, one of the point which Rahul pointed out was made by him, that we need to include issues of LGBTQI in the education system, in the textbooks and also. This has come out of ignorance, which I was very happy that Justice Venkatesh made this announcement. And so you can imagine that a judge of a court is ignorant about the issues, who we think is highly qualified, educated, everything. So there's definitely ignorance is there in the general society as well. So one of the things which I keep quoting a lot when it comes to education is one of my very dear friends and sister, who's a famous transgender activist, Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi. She uses this word in lot of her talks. It's called educated illiterate. Okay. Now, what does educated illiterate mean? Some of us are highly qualified. We are double graduation, post graduation, so and so forth. But we are illiterate when it comes to issues on sexuality or on LGBT issues. So, in order to make them educated literate, we need to make changes in the education system. And we should start from the grassroots level. We should start from this, as Rahul pointed out very correctly, school level. Not only should the school have education system in place, each and every school should have a sensitized school counselor, because a counselor's role is very important. I mean, why do you think I grew up in the confusion? I mean, it took me 30 years to find out I'm gay. I mean, though I knew I was different and I had attraction to it, had there been a school counselor, because parents don't talk these things. You go to parents, they will say, no, this is all very dirty and this and that, and they won't talk about sex. How are they going to talk about sexuality? So if there was a school counselor in the school where I studied, I could have gone to that counselor and told that, look, sir, madam, this is what I'm going through. This is my kind of a behavior. What am I? At least I would have had that clarity, and I would not have got married to a woman and spoiled her life. So a school counselor is very important. Of course, a sensitized school counselor, if they can get a counselor who's from the community, even better. And I want to give an example about a school, a very progressive school in India, where I visited. It's called Tagore International School in New Delhi. This is one of the best schools I have ever seen. The very progressive, open-minded, where the students are trainers. The students train other students and teachers and faculty on issues of sex, gender, sexuality, and LGBT issues. We need schools like these. And how this has happened is because they are imparting sex education, they are imparting education on LGBT issues at a level where the children understand through illustrations, through events, through film screenings, through theater, cultural events. A lot of things are happening in that school. And the good thing is that the parents are also cooperating with them. The parents themselves, they are keen that the students should get this knowledge in part. So we need schools like Tagore International Schools, which tell the children right since their age, so that when they grow up, then they should know that there is not just male and female, there is something beyond that also, and they should know there is something, sex, gender, all these terms should be known to them before they pass out of the school. So that is something very important, and I'm sure Justice Venkatesh, what decision is made, it's currently, it's still not decided. This case is still going on. It's an interim order. But whenever this becomes a final judgment, it's definitely going to have an impact on Indian education system, because it will be a guideline which will be submitted to the union government to consider over the change of the education, this curriculum and all that, to include this, and not just education system, but many other things, like wherever because a lot of us come into the educated illiterate category. So we all need to get them educated literate, so that we can expect some kind of change to happen in the society.
Yeah. So yeah, please.
Yeah. One more thing which I would like to add about this Madras High Court. So we all must have heard this saying, "Love can move mountains." So along with this ignorance thing, Justice Venkatesh also mentioned that it is their love for, it is their love of the couple which has actually uh, led to this particular decision, because had this couple not reached out to the Madras High Court, and they reached out to them because they wanted security, because they were harassed by their families, then Justice Venkatesh made it a point that he himself, at the same time, the family should also go and seek counselor and understand this thing. So like ये तो जीता जाता उदाहरण है कि love can actually move mountains and lead to a wonderful judgment like this.
That's
But
actually a
I want
great.
to sort of, so one thing that Manvendra ji said, that it's very important that counselors need to be trained. And I would not disclose any names, but a student a couple of years ago said that when he came out to his parents, the parents forced him to take on therapy, saying that therapy would cure him. So I could not believe it. I said, see, counselors would never do that. He said, no. Trust, there are counselors who are out there to cure homosexuality. So I do not know how much of that could be true, but if it is very scary. So I'm not talking about a quack or guruji or who can give you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about certified medical professionals who are out there thinking that it is some sort of an aberration which needs to be addressed. And I thought this is something which would have happened 50 years ago, but it seems that it is still a thing, and parents kind of tap on to these people from time to time. So one thing which I really like from what Manvendra Singh said, that training the trainers is, I believe, very crucial. Not just people at large, but also those who are supposed to tell people or listen to them and guide them.
Yeah, I mean that is something really important and that needs to be there. Yeah.
Can I answer that part with the counselor, which Shweta mentioned? Yeah, you're very right. In fact, last year I was invited for a panel discussion with some of leading psychiatrists, psychologists of India who are part of the Indian Psychiatric Association. Because as you would know now, like how American Psychiatric Association had ruled out that homosexuality is not a mental disorder way back in 1970s. Indian Psychiatric Association has also said that maintain the same thing. In fact, they were one of the petitioners to the Supreme Court when the Section 377 was being heard. They also filed that petition in the Supreme Court saying that Section 377 should be read down. Now, this kind of things are coming to my notice, also to my knowledge also. So I could raise this question when I was invited by this panel. That I said that if somebody from your mental health professional behaves in this manner, then what do you think we should do? You know, do you think she should be his license should be cancelled, or he should be given a notice, or you know what? Because this is not right. You know, you're not you're kind of misusing your license, your medical license. You know, so the association told me that no, the better way for us, we of course we do try to see that first and foremost we correct such behavior. You know, as soon as this kind of a person comes to a notice, we try and correct that behavior and you know tell them that look, this is not the right way of dealing with the patient has come to you. You are supposed to handle them with a lot of sensitivity and see that you know they are not discouraged from coming to you. So that is one thing. If they are not able to listen to them after giving them several chances, then as a last resort, they said we can go to the extent of removing them from the association, and even like taking stringent action against them for exploitation. And there have been cases which have been filed in the court also, where like the action has been taken against people who have tried to do this conversion. And now with the Justice Venkatesh's decision, I think the laws going to become even more strict. You know, where I mean, because this is a criminal activity. You know, you're playing with somebody's life. You know, imagine somebody goes to a doctor for treatment, and instead of treating, you're driving that person to suicide. You know, the person is going to commit suicide rather than getting cured. So this part was acknowledged by the panelists, by the Psychology Association, and I'm sure things would be better in the days to come.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, that educating the trainers are as important as sensitizing the children, right? So yeah, I completely agree with that. The children should be sensitized about these topics, and not just LGBTQ sexuality. It should be they should be sensitized about gender, about every societal aspect they are going to encounter in life. So I mean, so the students, the उनको बोला जाता है ना, like कली है, they can be as molded as we want. So they should be sensitized from the school level and university level. So I heard about this graphic novel. It's called The Tales from Campus. It's a misguide to college, and it is especially for college students in India, and it contains stories and themes of different genders, sexuality, class, caste, etc. And as I said, I can actually talk on and on and on about the book, but let's hear about it from the author herself, Professor Shweta Rao Garg. So, ma'am, please give us some insight about the book.
So first of all, thank you, Radio Club, for even allowing this to happen. So when I heard that, Manvendra Singh is coming and, Rahul and others are coming, so I thought this is a great chance, great opportunity to talk about this book. The book will be out in a couple of months, but so I started, in DAIICT, we started gender sensitizing, and I'm not saying that I'm 100% content with where we are, but it's a journey that we have begun a couple of years ago. And while I began that, I also realized that there is a dearth of books dearth of resources which I could give students to read. And I'm talking about a particular kind of students, the kind of students, and this is not comment on everybody here, but students hate to read these days. And these are, maybe these are engineering students. This is the Netflix generation, and you would rather read it on Quora. And I talk about literature. They say my favorite poet is on Instagram. So you know what I'm talking about. So I realized that we need something which is visually appealing, and yet it gives information, knowledge, and also builds on curiosity. So I thought it has to be somewhere between a Quora post and Dharbin just mentioned Men XP. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it is like one of those. I'm not undermining those resources. I'm sure they are important. And between a very, very academic writer, because I am from academia, and I also understand that giving that to student is not the best. We want them to get it. So this book, and by the way, I'm unveiling the cover for the first time. So the book cover is out. So yes, it's called The Tales from Campus, This Guide to College. And it is illustrated by Prajakta Kavtekar and Prathamesh Siddesh. They both were students from DIICT. They belong to the design group, and we have a thriving MDes program in the institute. And both these students are now former students. They put their heart and soul in it. And they were throughout this journey, they were guided by Professor Binita Desai, who is the convener of our gender cell. So I can't tell you how fortunate I am to be in DICT, to have colleagues like Binita, to have students like Pratmesh and Prajakta, who we all worked on this book, and we're really proud of it. It has stories of it is not just about a character. There are many characters, and these are stories which I've heard. So we all have ear and eyes on campus, the kind of campuses I grew up in, and that made me the kind of person I am, and the kind of campus where I'm teaching. So these are stories that I've heard, I've seen people experience it, and inspired by some of the students' life. Because as I said, students, I've been very privileged that students come and share their stories with me. So maybe when they read, students who usually don't read would be inspired to read. And it doesn't give any answers. On the other hand, it makes you ask question on what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a man, what does it mean, to express one's sexuality, what does it mean to be a Dalit student in India right now, when everybody says. So usually, what is this whole Suvarna, talk about that, okay, some people have it so easy, so what does that even mean? So it is at many level undercuts what it means to be powerful. It makes people look and relook at their privileges. So with these intentions, we have created this book. And today, I think we had this auspicious program, platform where I could share the cover. And I am very grateful for you to hear me out. And if you have any comments, I would love to hear you.
Yeah, so first of all, although I recently graduated, but I'm kind of excited about this book. So first of all, thank you so much. Secondly, as we were talking about, sensitizing the students, and actually, I would like to personally thank Gender Cell and Gender Studies Group for doing these sessions, doing this play. I remember that while preparing for the play, while rehearsing, you would come there, you would give us your inputs, and we would have such a lot of fun. After the plays would end, we would actually talk to the students, the freshers in groups. We would talk about anything. We would talk about their experiences, their stories, and it was quite nice. I guess that's the point for me. When I was a fresher, I would say that was the point I kind of started to open up to the seniors, at least. So so thank you so much for that, because if that wouldn't happen, I still think that in a class of 350 I would still be a child who's like sitting in a corner. So yeah, thank you so much for sensitizing these. So in DICT, there are such sessions. So I would like to ask Rahul, what's the scene at IIT Gandhinagar? Do they do such sessions, and like what's the difference? And yeah, so
Well, yeah. So as a club, I was mentioning. By the way, this is the second time I'm giving a presentation or talking to DAICT people. So yeah. they have such events. They do organize such events. Although, if I'm not wrong, because I keep checking their activities, because I'm still the member of that club. uh, uh, but yeah, the frequency has come down. But I'm glad to see that the new leadership, they are trying their level best to uh, sensitize people not only through talks and discussions but through different activities. For example, recently they in this Pride Month they organized this uh, some open mic, not open mic actually. So it was three events activities like painting, then writing. So whatever you feel like you can share by written content like that. And I'm one of the judges, so I am so glad to see some of them have written, it beautifully. The theme was coming out LGBTQ, gender, sexuality, and some of them have written beautifully. I have to say this. So yes, there are activities, and besides this, so because there is another department, cognitive science and humanities, so they keep on organizing such sessions. So yeah, they do have such initiatives.
Right, right. So, I mean, I would like to ask you and Manvendra sir. So, like when you said you came out, there is still, it's not like you just wake up one morning and yeah, I'm going to come out today. I don't think that's how it happens. But when you did, like you started with, maybe friends and family, and then you started like including the inner circle and everything. So, when this coming out progress was happening, did you encounter some toxic masculinity or rejection of LGBTQ? I'm kind of sure that you must have, because I don't think everyone can be as open-minded and accepting, and they should be, but sad reality they're not. So yeah, I would like to say, ask what kind of scenarios you encountered. And I'm asking this because, I mean, of course these are your personal experiences, but I think that people who are actually coming out, maybe we can show some similarity to at least some extent, that they might be going or they must be going through similar kind of experience. So yeah, I would like to ask about that. Manvendra sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I had extreme reactions. I mean, I don't think anyone would have had these kind of reactions now, but I mean, those days, of course, it was something different. So my reactions have gone to the extent of even the LGBT community going against me, which was very sad, because that was the last thing I had expected. That my own people who are from the community will disassociate with me, and I'll tell you why that happened also, because they were scared that now that I'm out, and their parents know that they are friends with me, so now they will be out. Like, for example, now I'm friends with Rahul, and Rahul is coming to my home. I'm visiting him, and his parents know me and all that. So they will definitely doubt Rahul, that if Manvendra has come out as gay, then definitely Rahul is also gay. So they blocked me. They just disconnected. They said, we don't want to do anything with you. You know, because of this. So I said, fine, it's up to you. It's I mean, I'm not a loser by your disconnecting with me. It's fine if you don't want to connect with me, then that's okay for me. So those were the kind of things. And the worst thing which happened to me was I started getting death threats. You know, uh, and why this death threats happened also, I'll tell you the reason. Because when I came out as openly as gay, and I said that I'm the first member of a royal family to come out, but not the only one, which means that I knew of some royals in India who are gay or lesbians or trans, because can have gays everywhere. It's not that royal families cannot have. So there's a lot of us. I joke whenever I said we are we are not gays, but we are kind of queens hiding in the royal closet. So I kind of knew about that. So now they felt very insecure, because they said, now this guy got shameless. He's outed himself, and the time will come when he's going to out us also. And when we get outed, then as a two royal families, people have all kinds of misconceptions about us in India, thanks to the Indian history books. but like then the reputation of the royal families will get ruined. So I had no reason to out anyone. Why should I out anyone? That's their personal life. But then people were scared, and so they started instigating. And in royal families, and or any reputed families, conspiracies are very common. You see what happened in Nepal, the royal massacre happened. The whole royal family was finished. So it's very easy to kill somebody. They've just failed my brake or push me in the river, and I get eaten by a crocodile, and it will be just kind of an accident. They will not even know that. And so I was extra careful and cautious. Even while I was driving the car, I used to test my brake to see if my brake is working, because you never know, anything can happen. Then one day what happened, something really interesting happened, and I've shared this on even TED Talks also. I actually met my assassin. I'm laughing now, but actually I'm so lucky. Who meets an assassin? If by the time you meet, you're gone, you're dead, I actually met my assassin, and he came to me and he said, I want to confess with you something. And he said that I was hired to kill you. I said, wow. I said, where is your weapon? I'm standing here. Why aren't you doing anything with me? And he said, no, that thing got flopped because that contract was, not negotiable. So, it was all cancelled. So now I'm not going to do anything. But he said the reason why I came to tell you this is that I was guilty conscious. And that I couldn't have died, without having informed you. So he came specially to meet me and to tell me that he was guilty conscious, that he was hired to kill me, and he wanted to confess to me and apologize. And now we are very good friends. I said, come, let's have coffee together, so, but see, these are the things which can happen to you. I mean, of course, I know it will. Yes, I tell you my consequences were extreme, which will not be a common story for everyone. But since you asked me to share, I said, let me share my part of my story.
Okay. 3 words. Oh my God. I actually don't have anything else to say. I mean, so the saddest part is you being rejected by your own community. That's actually, as you said, the last thing that you would want to happen. So yeah, as I said, I don't really have any words. I mean, I'm kind of, a big fan of you. You are so brave. Oh my God, just big fan. Yeah. And there is nothing more I can actually say. Yeah. Rahul, what are your experiences?
Well, सर का जो जर्नी रहा है, उससे एक चीज तो साबित होती है कि वी पीपल आर वेरी फेबुलस. हम लोग अपने दुश्मन को भी दोस्त बना के कॉफी पे लेके जाते हैं. सो डोंट हेट अस. वी आर सो लवली पीपल.
Yeah.
We have only love to give. So yeah, my acceptance and coming out journey was okay. Matlab, I would say I was privileged. I am privileged that I didn't have to go through all these things, which majority of the people go through actually. My first coming out was with to my brother. That was 5 years ago. My younger brother, and he was very supportive. He still is, touch wood. And that actually gave me a sense of courage to come out and to be the person I am. Then when I came to IIT, I was pretty much okay with my sexuality, and then that was actually the phase when I started coming out to people. Again, something happened, backlashes and all. So I remember there was this group. They told my friends that don't talk to Rahul, don't be friend with Rahul because he's gay, he's gonna turn you gay. I was like, seriously? I mean, I wish I could, but it doesn't work
Gay
like
is
that.
like a virus, you get infected.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I mean, if this was possible, then Chris Evans would have been the first person I would like to turn gay. But I'm sorry, this doesn't work like that. So people don't
Yeah.
have influence on others to be gay or to be heterosexual. And this is something which made me realize that there is huge lack of knowledge and education among people. Then that was actually my major coming out, because literally everybody knew in the campus. I came out to my parents in 2019. That was a time when I was done with my masters, and my parents started, finding a girl for me. And my brother was like, "Now this is the high time to tell parents." Actually, me and my brother, both of us planned how we are going to tell them, and he helped a lot. So we explained them everything, and they had no idea what homosexuality is. And I was ready for all the Indian melodrama, everything. But thankfully, nothing of that sort happened. Although they didn't know anything about it, but they didn't use this thing to scold me or to pressurize me for marriage, nothing of that sort. And that is why I always say that I'm so privileged. Still now they are on their journey to educate themselves about these things, and uh, they are super supportive. They know the kind of work I do. In fact, in February 2020, we organized Gandhinagar's first Pride. My mom and my brother wanted to attend that Pride, but unfortunately something came up and they couldn't. And in June 2020, last year, we organized Global Pride. Manvendra sir was also there, and my mother made it a point that she made sure that she, at least the Indian portion she watched, and she watched like for like 50, 60 minutes of all the Indian content. So yeah, and this is what we want. If we get support from our families, बाकियों से तो लड़ाई हो जाएगी, but खुद की family से लड़ना is the most difficult thing. And when you get support from a family, this is something which we always uh, desire to have. Now the thing is like they are pretty cool about it, and I really hope that about coming out thing. So whosoever is planning to come out, I really want to tell them, first thing, come out only when you are pretty sure. You are sure as in you are comfortable with your sexuality and in your skin. Second thing, as far as possible, please come out only when you are, financially independent and security is there. Because it's a good thing to be optimistic, but at the same time, it is also a good thing to be practical and to be ready for the worst case scenarios. So yeah, I think बाकी तो हम लोग तो हैं ही साथ देने के लिए.
Hmm. Great. So, Shweta ma'am, my question to you is kind of similar, but there is an umbrella of disclaimer under which this question works. So, okay, so first of all, what my what I thought when I talked to you first, that was the orientation day, that this is the person I can talk to about literally anything. So, since you are also a gender cell member, have you encountered like students coming to you and sharing their, like weird experiences? Because, as you said, if even a counselor says that you need to, need a conversion therapy or something, I know that you're not, but so I'm kind of like, I don't know, like, have you encountered such students who are going through such difficulties and they have come to you and talked to you about it?
I have, Dharmin. I have, and it's. I mean, as I just said, I don't want to get into the details, but as I say that it was for me, it was a shock that somebody at this point of time in this day and age would have to go through the kind of things that he was going through. So it was just painful to just be listening to that, and I can't imagine how traumatic it would have been for that person, right? So even though I mean I must admit that DICT is not a space which is, I mean, openly hostile, I would say. So this person was not uncomfortable being himself in the institute. But remember, world is broader, larger than college campuses, and it may not be so charitable. So he in fact said that school was worse. than the campus, because there were all kinds of language which was used at him. So, while talking to him and then while many others, I realized that how we were talking about awareness. And I think role of language is so important. I mean, Rahul, when you entered, I saw that, so there is this, he's written he and him. And if you others are wondering why, it's like to tell people that how do you want, or how does he want him to be addressed at. So this is just one example to say that how language itself could alienate, language itself could empower. And at least, we start by being conscious. Rahul just told his story about his parents, and he said that he expected all the melodrama, but they are still, the parents are still on this journey of discovery. So it just tells you that ignorance is not a reason, an excuse to be jerks. You are jerks because you are, not because you're ignorant. So I mean, that's also there when I look at more and more accounts of people that you just can't blame the ignorance. It's also, I think, at some level, it's also basic empathy that as a culture we need to work on. And we are talking about here at this point of time, we are talking about LGBTQ plus A communities. But I'm also talking about, many women students, for instance, they come to me and they say how traumatic it was when they got their first periods, for instance, something which is a very, very biological, rite of passage, biological rite of passage. And even for something like that, there is this whole feeling that something is dirty inside my own body. So suddenly there is no acceptance. There is alienation from one's own body in a very, very straightforward biological, part of woman's part. So if that is the case, if this is how our culture makes women, be, feel about their own bodies, I don't even want to imagine what people who are considered of different sexualities, how are they supposed to feel about themselves? So rejection, pollution, the fact that I'm not clean enough, the fact that I'm dirty, it's so ingrained in us. And I think we need to maybe at some level begin by being conscious of our language. That's the first step.
Right. So, I mean, when you said that you don't even want to, like, begin to imagine what people of other sexuality can go through. I mean, so whatever pressure that one has on oneself, like, not accepting one who he or she is, that kind of, begins with this societal pressure, like whatever they have, heard about it and saw what's going on in this society. Like they must have seen something like, these kind of things I don't think I should do, varna log kya kahenge. Again, everything comes out to one point, log kya kahenge, society kya kahenge, because we as human are kind of societal creatures. We want to have a place in our society. So Rahul, what are your opinions on this particular thing? How can one start to accept oneself?
Well, I think सबसे पहले तो I think you only answered this thing कि get rid of this idea कि लोग क्या कहेंगे, and I know it's very easy to say but very hard to implement and use. But this is actually the key thing which we have to keep in mind. People are going to say every time, no matter who you are, no matter what choices you make, every time. Even if you are scoring 90%, people are going to say, why didn't you score 95? Even if you're scoring 50%, people will say, why couldn't you score 60% or 70%? लोगों का काम ही है कहना. People will have expectations, and we are not here to fulfill somebody's expectations. We are here to have our own dreams, to live those dreams, right? So we have to get rid of this mentality कि लोग क्या कहेंगे. First thing. Second thing is, everybody's journey is different, right? And we need to take some time. It's not an abrupt thing that okay आज पता लगा and then कल ही हमने बताया या share किया कुछ लोगों के साथ. No, take time, let it digest in your mind कि this is something which is happening to me. And third thing is, get support from allies. I would say allies are really important, part of the LGBTQ community. They are the ones who are actually going to support you, For example, if you're going through certain situations, reach out to counselors, reach out to people you trust, reach out to organizations which are working in this direction. I think I and once you are completely okay with your sexuality, with the person you are, I think it's good to not hide it anymore. But yes, these are the things which we really need to keep in mind. Uh, get rid of this mentality, लोग क्या कहेंगे, because लोग will लोग हमेशा ही कहेंगे. Second thing is get support from people, reach out to those people who are into this profession, like counselors, and who are working for people like in organizations, and finally come out with rainbow colors.
And just to add one more thing, Rahul, if I'm, if I may,
Yes, please.
is that, look, so I understand that coming out is another rite of passage, which is extremely crucial, but you added it, and I just want to expand on that, come out when you are sure. Also, be careful if you are secure. If you think you could be threatened around your circumstances, don't, because I think
Yeah.
survival is extremely important. So,
Right.
and at the same time, like, of course, it's a crucial part of your own growth and expressing who you are. But your security is of course, and I mean, here we have Manvendra sir with all the privileges. He himself was threatened, and of course, like, and thank God nothing happened, and he offered coffee to his assassin, and that's a great, by the way, it could be title of your autobiography. Having, how many people can claim that? But I'm
Coffee
saying
to
that
my
for
assassin.
others, coffee with my assassin, exactly. I'm going to read that book if you write that. So, no, but for others, I mean, I'm just saying that that is also very important. So there shouldn't be any pressure to out yourself only when you are very clear about the circumstances, or I don't know. So in my opinion, that's also, I mean, as a, maybe as a teacher, I'm thinking a lot about security and safety of students. Then
No, absolutely. And
yeah.
in fact, this pressure of coming out is very much prominent in when somebody is in relationship. When the one person is out and the other person is not out, and maybe the person is not telling him or her that you should come out, but the kind of pressure this person is going through, because there are certain things which you can't do in public. Yeah, you can't show your love, you can't show, you can't have PDAs, and you can't be just who you are in public. So this creates a lot of pressure on that. So we need to keep in mind and consider that we shouldn't be the reason for someone's pressurized coming out thing. So the person should take time, as ma'am said, that the person has to be comfortable and considering the security and safety of himself. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, yesterday we had another session, and when we actually, discussed in detail like how to be an ally. As you said, allies are really actually the most crucial thing, I would say, because these are the people you actually go to first, right? So let's just like take a scenario that you are coming out to me. So as your friend, how do you think I should, comply with it? Like, it is implied that I need to be open minded, I shouldn't judge. But what are some kind of corner cases that you wouldn't like me to do that? For example, like, not make sexist jokes, like, and that could any way relate to you coming out to me. So yeah, about what's your take on that?
Me?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, to be an ally, the very first thing is to be open-minded. And when I say open-minded, this doesn't mean that you need to know everything. You just have to be a good listener. You just have to make the other person comfortable that whatever conversation is happening between us, this will be within between us. Um, Second thing is to educate yourself. It's very important, because until and unless you educate yourself, you won't be able to know the entire scenario, because there are things like the situation which I have gone through, or people from the LGBT community have gone through. Allies can never experience that, you know. So to get glimpse, to get gist of what the community people go through, they should be well educated. Um, Third thing is, ask as many questions as you want to. You know, I still remember that there were a couple of people who were very curious because this concept was entirely new to them, and they were very curious, and I was very happy answering all those questions. But there are certain questions which people should not ask. Like, people should not ask about their sexual preferences. This is something which is their personal thing. So yeah, besides this, I guess ask as many questions you want, and we will be super happy to answer all your queries and questions. Next is, I would say, stand up and speak out when something wrong is happening, when somebody is saying some sexist comment, or speak out loud, because this is, even if the person is not with you, because this is something how you are going to support the entire community, not just that one person, because that comment is made for the entire community. And fifth or fourth thing, whichever number is, I think community, ultimately it's our fight. you know it's our fight. We will always be grateful to the allies, but at the same time we should also understand, as ally I should also understand that wherever is needed, I will be supporting the LGBT community, but let the LGBT community speak for themselves. you know so I think these are the things which we should take into consideration when we really want to support the cause.
Right. So again, kind of similar question to Manvendra sir. Like, being you when you came out, I mean, because since you belong to a royal family, like there must be some sort of a family pressure. So, like, then how? Like, I guess I kind of asked that, like, how did you come out? But who were your exact, I mean, allies? Did you have a brother or sister like Rahul has? Because as your journey kind of threads, that was anyway really extreme. But since some kind of silver lining to that, that these were the good things that happened.
Yeah, in my case, unfortunately, I didn't have any family support also. I didn't have, I mean, of course, there was a support from the community when I came out, and I would like to acknowledge the support of a gentleman. His name is Ashok Rao Kavi, who happens to be the first person in India to have come out. He came out in 1980s, imagine. I mean, that time, even nobody would have known what, or rather, this word gay also would not have been spoken in mainstream communication. So he has come out in 1980s, and he's one of the legends. We call him he's the godfather of the LGBT community, and the leader of the LGBT movement in India. So I was fortunate to have come in touch with him, and he was the one who constantly guided me right from the time I kind of came out to him, because he was my counselor also, and he was the one who made me feel comfortable with my sexuality and mentored me, made me feel proud about myself, and also was the one who kind of helped me to start Lakshya Trust in Gujarat. So all throughout my journey, even now, I mean, now also, I mean, whenever I need him, I always call him. He's quite old now. He's now 74. He doesn't keep good health. He's like almost retired in his life, but he's my guru. My guru, my godfather, whatever you may call it. And he has been a very good source of inspiration for me, and whatever I do, and definitely he's also very proud of me also. So, whenever I have any issue, whenever I have, anything where I get stuck, I always reach out to him, and he has been the one who has, guided me all throughout my entire journey, from pre coming out to coming out to post coming out, and all whatever has happened. I owe my, uh, gratitude to him for guiding me, and not just me. He has guided so many of us today. I'm very proud that India has so many leaders in this LGBT movement. I always believe that this movement has to continue. The torch bearers have to pass on this torch. This flame has to continue burning. It cannot end with Ashok Rao Kavi. It cannot end with Manvendra Singh Gohil. It cannot end with Rahul Upadhyay. This movement has to continue, has to keep on going. And I'm glad that there are leaders have been created, like how Ashok prepared me. I am trying to prepare other leaders, and I'm very proud to see Rahul as one of the leaders, who has already had this torch. He has already having the torch in his hand. He's the torch bearer of the movement. So we have to continue our work, and this is endless. This is something which is not going to come to an end. This is going to be an endless fight. This is going to be an endless movement, and it has to go on for I don't know how long. But yes, so that's what I have to say.
That's actually great to hear that you had a particular inspiration to go from, and that's actually really, as I said, a kind of silver lining to it. So I'm glad that happened. Now I want to talk about some of the legality. So a little while ago we talked about the Madras case, and where a good judgment was like made. So talking about that, what are the current laws for LGBTQ community? Like, we know that the Section 377 was demolished in 2018. But what's the current scenario? Because I'm not sure if same-sex marriages are still legal or not. So yeah, I would like to talk about that. Manvendra sir, because you are activist, you must be knowing. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Rahul is also aware of it. But anyway, you asked me this question, so I will answer first. So very true. I mean, I just want to correct you. Section 377 was not demolished; it was read down. So they made amendments in the law still remains in force. It's only that it is now says that any adults who are consenting to have sex with each other will not be punished under the law. So, which means that why this adults and why consenting has been brought into the picture, because this law has secured three individuals. One is children, because if you are adult, then obviously if you're a child, you cannot have sex even if it is consensual. Because that gives rise to child abuse or pedophilia and things like that. And number two, it has also protected post-sex, rape, molestation, all these cases with men and with women, because even men can be molested or raped, sexually abused. So it has to be with consent. So that is why the women and men are protected against any kind of post-sex or rape and all. Thirdly, it has protected animal rights, which not many people know, because when this law was enacted during the colonial law, it also talks about sex between man and animal and women and animals. Which which sounds very illogical, because and again, Queen Victoria was the one who brought it. So maybe she thought that Indians have sex with animals. So she brought that also in the picture. So it is protecting animals in this. So therefore, this law is there. If you have sex with an animal, then definitely. I'll be the first person who will file a case against the person, because I'm an animal rights activist also. I will not want animals' rights to be compromised in any way. So that is the law which happened in the 2018 6 September. Now the question is that whether this law which was amended, does it include other rights of the LGBT community as well? The law which was newly passed. It was just reading down of Section 377, which was not even an Indian law. It was a foreign law, and which unfortunately continued after independence, in spite of the fact of having such a beautiful Indian constitution written by Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. So it was merely restoring the rights which we were deprived of. So we were actually, if this law would not have continued, we wouldn't have even fought for it, because our Indian constitution is very clear. It is giving rights to all Indian citizens without discriminating on the basis of caste, creed, sex, gender, and sexuality. So there was no reason to even go to the court. But it was this law which forced us to go to the court and to fight for last almost 3 decades. It took to get this law changed, which maybe Dharmin and Shweta, you all don't know this fact, but we fought for both of you also because this law was also targeting heterosexual population, which people don't know about. It talked about sexual any kind of unnatural sex which between a man and a woman, which doesn't result in procreation. So one theory says that even masturbation was criminal. So imagine the whole country was criminal. But who fought for the country? We people fought. We don't get credit for that. Doesn't matter. But we should not even be giving discriminated for doing something good for the whole country. But so that this was the law. Now, since this law is not talking about any other right, it is just talking about the constitutional rights. So definitely there are a lot of other rights for which we need to still fight for and get justice, because I mean, till the time you don't fight, you don't get any right. So we have to fight for it, and we have to knock the doors of the court and to tell them we need justice. So one of them is the right to marriage, for which the petition has been filed in the Delhi High Court, and the Madras High Court decision is definitely going to make the case stronger because it talks about marriage rights as well, marriage equality and all that. There was another case which happened in Madurai, in which a trans woman had challenged the court because she was wanting to get married with a man, and the marriage was denied. So that Madurai court also said that the trans woman has a right to get married with a man, because under the Hindu Marriage Act there is the word groom and bride. It doesn't say gender and sexuality, and those kind of things are not there. So as a trans woman, she has a right to get married to the man, and they have got married. So there are cases which are going to help our Delhi High Court judgment. It's a matter of time. There are petitions have been filed, and I'm sure one fine day how we got Section 377 amended, this marriage equality also will happen. And there are some others for which we need to address is the right to inherit, right to adoption. So there are many other areas where we need to fight, but currently this focus is on the marriage and right to marriage.
Okay, great. Rahul, Shweta, do you have anything to add to that?
I
I
think,
think Sir has summarized
yeah.
everything perfect. I'm just curious about this. So after Madras Court does it, what is the second step? So do they then? Do you then go to the Supreme Court, or how? What is the further step after it comes through the Madras High Court?
See, Madras High Court, I said, it is not a judgment as yet; it is a decision. So this case is, according to the lawyer, when I spoke to him, he said this case is still going to go on. It's just an interim order, because this order had to be made to protect this lesbian couple. Because they were not just harassed by parents, but even by the police, and then it was very necessary to protect. Otherwise, one of them could have been killed, or they would have committed suicide. So it was a question of a life. So therefore, this interim order was made, and now the case is going to go on. Once this case goes on, if nobody challenges it, then it will obviously it will not go to the Supreme Court. It will be a decision of Madras High Court, and it will be binding on not just Tamil Nadu, but for the entire country, which is another good thing which is going to happen. So but yeah, if it gets challenged, then we'll have to suffer some more years, and wait till the Supreme Court hears it, and then decide and know what the judgment, as it happened in Section 377, because our case also was decided by the Delhi High Court in our favor in 2009. And then it was challenged, and the appeal was filed in the Supreme Court, which unfortunately initially we lost in 2013. But then the Supreme Court also has a provision that where you can file for a curative petition if you are not given justice under very specific grounds. And our case came under that category. There are only 3, 4, or 5 cases since the time India has got independent, which have been gone into curative petition. So we were very lucky that Supreme Court allowed us to file a curative petition in the Supreme Court, and and that case was filed in 2014, and in 4 years, in 2018, we won the case. So so there has been our ups and downs have been there in our judicial laws and all, but we have to just be patient enough and see. But then what we need to do is we need to do our advocacies, which is very important, because even judicial advocacy with lawyers, law practitioners, that has to be done, because you never know. Some open-minded judge might come who would be in our favor. Like we've had the Supreme Court judgment where it was a bench of 5 judges. It was a unanimous decision. Not even one judge from the 5 members of the bench said that Section 377 it should not be read down. It was a unanimous decision by all 5. In fact, one of the lady judge, I'm forgetting her name now, she went on to even add that the country owes an apology to the LGBT community for all their discrimination which they have done, and the fact that our human rights have been violated. So that's what that the judgment said. So yeah, so let's wait and see what happens.
That's actually really great
You
news.
stole my words. So
That's
yeah,
actually,
when Marvind sir said that one of the judges, a female judge, she mentioned that history owes an apology, and I think one more statement I would like to quote over here. Former Chief Justice of India, Deepak Mishra, he said when they were actually giving the judgment, the statement was, "I am who I am, so take me what I am." So yeah, this was really really powerful.
right. Actually, that's actually really good news that, मेरा देश बढ़ रहा है. So yeah, that is something, something which I can say in a, like, going in a positive direction. So yeah, another thing, this is like more specific to the pandemic, since you both are activists, and this is like Pride Month. This is the high time when we, educate people about the community. So how did you exactly tackle these challenges? Because, large gatherings, pride parades, everything is, banned, kind of. So like how did you, virtually, was it? I'm sure it was not easy, but yeah, how did you tackle these challenges? Virtuality. Manvendra sir, if you can go first.
Rahul say, because then I take away his words. So let him say, let him speak, and then I'll fill in the blanks.
Yeah, sure.
Um, well, I think we are kind of reverse, नदियों को जब obstruction मिलता है तो वो अपना रास्ता खुद ही बना लेते हैं अलग से. So I think we have now developed that tendency, Of course, in-person events can never compensate for or can never be equivalent to virtual things, but then this is what we have, and we have to do with this thing only as of now. So no doubt, Pride parades have been cancelled, and Pride parade is very important to mark the visibility, because whatever sessions we are having, whatever virtual Pride parades we are having, majority of the viewers are from the community or allies. But what we have on ground is the people, not just allies or LGBT people, but everyone out there. So this is what we are lacking as of now, that we are not able to mark our visibility. And it is very important to do that because I see it that way. If we want a solution to a problem, then first of all we have to admit, we have to accept that there is a problem, and the problem is denial of people towards the existence of LGBT community. People don't even say that we exist, So this is a problem, and to show them that yes, we exist, we have these pride parades and other events. But at the same time, one good thing which has happened, which pandemic has taught us, that we really have to be adaptive, adaptive to situations, which we have beautifully managed. Everything has come online. And another thing which has happened is those who were able to attend the Pride events, maybe if I'm organizing a Pride event in Gandhinagar, then people from Gandhinagar or Ahmedabad. Now people from other countries are able to attend those events, participate, interact. So I think this is something which we really which is really beautiful, and we should take it forward. Even though when we are going to have pride parades in on ground, in physical and other events, we should make it a point that this is also accessible to people who are not able to join in person. So yeah, I think we are navigating beautifully. But yes, I would like to correct, over here that Pride Month is the like why should there be sensitization only in Pride Month? This has to be there throughout the year. And no doubt, Pride Month is to celebrate our existence, to celebrate our sexuality, and also to pay tribute to those who sacrifice their lives for us. Pride Month is for that, but I think sensitization and awareness programs and these things should be there throughout the year.
Yeah,
Sir,
definitely.
over to you.
Yeah.
Now you have taken away my words. So you have taken it for that. But yeah, I completely agree to what you say. And of course, the silver lining is that even though we are doing everything on virtual platform and we're not being able to physically meet, but I think the reach is much more. We are able to reach out to a number of people, reach out to a number of countries, number of geographical areas, sitting in our home. We are not, we have kind of managed to save our lot of our energy and time, and even because organizing these events, and Rahul will agree with me, because I mean, now yes, we can do a pride parade without going to police. He doesn't have to get police permission, or get the municipality or anyone involved, any authorities involved. He can sit at home in the comfort of his room, and he just needs a good internet connection. That's all. And he can organize prides, and he can reach much more people than he would have. Yeah, definitely there are people who don't have access to internet, so we are missing on reaching out to those people who don't have the source of these internets and laptops and or whatever gadgets to see us. But the other side of the story is that we are able to do it and reach out to more number of people with least efforts. And a lot of even money wise also, we are able to save a lot of money, because you don't need to spend much. Just get a rainbow flag and put it on your background, and and the pride is organized. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess that is actually all from my side. I mean, this has been a really amazing conversation. I'm kind of, पूरे week का जो stress था, that's just poof. So I would like to thank all of you. Like, it was such a great session. Yeah, I mean, that's actually it from my side. Do you have any do you have any closing notes or anything? Yeah, one thing I would like to add, that as Rahul said, these sensitization programs, they actually need to be there throughout the year. So I completely agree upon that. So as that with that said, we will do our part as allies, and we'll keep the movement, like, go ahead, get in the forward in the positive direction. And yeah, let's just hope that everything gets completely normalized. LGBTQ, not a different, it shouldn't be seen as different community. It's just people, that's it. Everyone is people. It doesn't matter, it's heterosexual,
These
it's
are people who
transsexual.
take out their assassins for coffee. So these are not just
Yes.
people. I
Yes.
won't do that. I'll freak out. So there's definitely, but I mean, I don't know if we can, like, maybe. So I saw certain participants here. So is there anything? I think Devish was also there. So is there anything anybody wants to say or ask? Because we have two, great activists here with us. One young and one forever young. So yeah. So yesterday we had talk from our own student Devesh, who's now in Germany, and an art historian who his name is Vineet. So and yes, Devesh, he wants to say something. So Dharmin, can we unmute him? So they actually brought in the stratification of caste and class within the LGBTQA community. So the community. So that was quite a talk we had yesterday. So yeah.
Yeah, just a second. Can the host please promote Devesh Pai to the panelist? Because I particularly don't have the rights to do so.
So Viral
Only
has
thing
to.
I'll have to leave by 7:55, so there are 4 minutes. So because I have another session, so I will be here for another 4 minutes.
So Devesh, if it takes
Yeah,
a moment, you can always type your question if you have any before Manvendra ji, leaves.
Yes, exactly.
So maybe while that is happening, I also want to reiterate. I think it was eye-opening to listen to you. And here he is. The question I wanted to ask, sir, about the experience of managing AIDS research out over the year. So a little bit about your AIDS Reach Out program.
I don't know how many of you all know, but India ranks in the third in the world with regards to HIV infections, number of HIV infections. So that's why one of the reasons why I took up this challenge. Like, I'm a person who likes to take challenges. So I work for HIV as well, and we are through my ambassadorship. We are trying to get as many people tested as possible in India, because testing is the only way you know whether a person is positive or negative. And as soon as a person is tested positive, we immediately start them on treatment, because treatment is one of the ways we can prevent the transmission from one person to the other. So therefore, it's important to test, and it's important to treat somebody. And this treatment is in all government hospitals. It's available for free, and even in our organization, we don't charge for it. So we are trying to see that it is accessible and available in all the parts of India. And of course, we are doing a strong program on condom promotion. We are the first organization in India to have started a free condom store. So because there's so much of stigma even behind condoms, people cannot go to a medical store and even ask for a condom. So we have a condom store where we have online you can order, and you can get your condoms home delivered free of cost. So yeah, so that's another campaign we started. So trying to see, because condom is the only way you can protect sexual transmission, and 85% of HIV transmission is through sex. So that's some of the initiatives and we are trying to do in India.
Sir, I actually asked this question because when I was reading out about the history of AIDS reach out over the years, I came across a talk by Anjali Gopalan, and she told that in initial years of between 2001 and 2004, the government was not really receptive, that they wouldn't even say that this was a problem. So when you said that from 2004 onwards, the government was actually helpful to Lakshya Trust, I wanted to ask you that in that specific era or in that specific time period, how has it changed over the years? Are there more cases? Is government more receptive? Is there more stigma? That was what I wanted to ask.
Exceeding my time, but very quickly I will answer. See, the government could not have gone to the gay community and or to the vulnerable communities like sex workers, transgender. They also needed support of groups like ours, and that's precisely, they had no choice, but they had to come to us. Otherwise you would have lost so many people by now. So it was I would say HIV, it was a curse to a lot of people, but it came as a blessing in disguise, because most of the groups in India from the LGBT community got empowered because of HIV. I mean, not lesbian groups, but yes, definitely groups working on gay, bisexual, trans community. They definitely got empowered because of HIV, because of the fact that government wanted to come and partner with us to work with them. So I'm sorry I have to leave because I'm running out of time.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't mind.
Thank you so much.
On,
Yeah.
especially on
Thank.
HIV, I don't mind doing another session with John, so I would be more than happy.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you so
Thank
much.
you
we'd be
so much.
looking.
Bye,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you so much. Bye bye. Yeah, so I hope Desh bhai that answers your question. Maybe you can ask. Maybe if you want to ask, you can ask Rahul or Shweta ma'am.
No, it's yeah, but I
I
got the
don't think
answer I
we'll
was
be
looking for.
able to answer it. No, that's his work, so I'm sure we won't be able to answer that. But no, but see, even Devesh, so I don't know, you were there at that point of time. So he also said that he himself was surprised to see that kind of government support. So I don't know. People say God work in mysterious way. I feel the same about government working in mysterious ways. So. So I don't know. So I mean, let's hope that we can get Manvendra ji to come again and maybe interact with
No, I
students.
think, I would like to second that because even I got the police permission for the Pride Parade in the name of HIV awareness. So
Interesting, isn't it?
that was comparatively easy to, to tell them, to persuade them. So yeah.
You actually use that. That's amazing. So somebody told you that this is the drop this bomb and that would work. Or
So so when we were planning to organize this, I reached out to Mumbai Pride and asked them how does it work, like how to get police permission. The person who reaches out to the police people over there, he simply told me, just get a pack of condoms, hand it over the police person, and just say that we are here, we will be having this pride parade to make people aware of HIV. That's it. Although इतना आसानी से नहीं हुआ, but then finally we got it.
interesting.
Yeah, actually. So I guess that's it. If anyone has anything else to ask, we can, yeah, address that. So actually, there was this one question in yesterday's chat. Matlab, it is kind of more relevant to a generalized scenario. The question was, how should one respond to rumors that someone is a lesbian or a gay or a bisexual or a transgender? So Rahul, like, what's your take on this one? And this
Yes,
was definitely
please.
the last question. Yeah.
Well, even if it's a rumor, so first of all, there is nothing wrong to be a gay or lesbian. Even if it's a rumor. And first of all, you shouldn't believe in rumors until and unless you yourself know about the person. Second thing is, there is nothing wrong to be one of the part of the LGBT community because, as you know, we people are fabulous. Third thing is, try, because this is something which is related to one's identity, and privacy. And make sure that if somebody is spreading such rumors, make sure to stop that person, to confront that person, and make sure that you let the other person know जिसके बारे में rumors बताए जा रहे हैं, because this is kind of breaching of privacy and you are actually committing a crime. Breach of privacy is a crime. So this will be a win-win situation for both the parties. जो rumor फैला रहा है वो आप उन्हें है ना क्राइम करने से बचा रहे हो, और दूसरा जिसके बारे में rumors बताए जा रहे हैं उसकी obviously privacy के बारे में है, so obviously you are safeguarding their privacy. So please don't believe in rumors and confront that person and stop that person right there.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to add something which was brought in earlier. So please don't come out on other people's behalf. So one thing is that
Yes.
rumors you can't stop. I mean, that's human tendency. But for God's sake, don't come out, on other people's behalf because that's their prerogative. Please don't do
Right.
it. And I'm saying that because I get over enthusiastic students and and I get really angry that it's none of your business. So have you gotten so-and-so person's permission to say that about him or her? And if not, just shut up. So, I mean, I agree with Rahul that if you hear that, you're at the receiving end of any such information, for God's sake, do not condone it. By, on the other hand, stop it and speak up against, because this is absolutely rubbish and shouldn't be, encouraged. But that's an interesting question from the chat box, Dharmik.
Yeah, I mean, so the baseline, everything circle around to one baseline, that we need to educate ourselves. We need to educate everyone in this society that these things need to be normalized. There is nothing wrong or different about it. So yeah, as I said, everything circles around that, and yeah, that's actually pretty much it from my side. I would like to thank Rahul for taking out the time and joining us in the session. We had a really amazing conversation. Especially, same thing goes to Shweta ma'am as well. I'm pretty sure, although it was Saturday, I mean, you are a professor. You have a really timing.
Yeah, totally. Like I go out in a mall to watch a movie. Instead, I'm here stuck at my home.
I hope you had a good time, because I definitely did. That was so like nice, really nice evening. So yeah, that's it. Thank you so much
So
for
Rahul,
joining
wish
us.
you all the best for your
Thank you so
future
much.
endeavors, and yeah, come out with pride. Continue to be out in
Yes.
pride, and yeah. So thank you, Radio Club DICT, for the opportunity. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for having me. I mean, it's such an honor to be, to be on the panel with with people who are actually doing great in their fields. Thank you so much, Shweta ma'am. Of course, a big thank
Please
you to
call me
Manvendra
Shweta. Yes, yeah.
Shweta. Yes, I would love that too.
Okay.
By the way,
Yes.
I love the painting जो आपके पीछे है ना.
Thank
I
you.
love that.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for organizing this, the organizing team. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. With that said, this
Thanks,
session
Devesh, for
has been
joining. Thanks, everyone.
yeah, yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you and have a good night.
Bye.